Hi, it's Kevin here. I'm just going to make a quick video. A student sent me an essay. He doesn't know where he's gone wrong. He wants an assessment of his band score, etc. And he needs a bit of guidance. So we're going to take a look at his essay. I'll show you the criteria, how it works, what score they would get, and also I'll show you a band 9 example at the end. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, let's take a look. Now, oops, don't want that. Criteria. So, first things first. Counting the words. So, they start with the task achievement or task response at first. Count the number of words to make sure it doesn't have a penalty. Then they move down, starting from 9, 8, 7, 6, blah, blah, blah. And we try to match the statement that closely matches the global features. So they get a general sense of where it's going first. Then they read the more detailed features, match these to the script, check that all features of that band are in the script, etc. And then they go on. So you've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we've got, as you all know, as you should know, task response, cohesion, lexis, and grammar. So this is where we start. So let's get on. Let's get on. So first things first. Check the word count. Right. 2, 2, 3. Now, bad start. Bad start. 2, 2, 3 words. You need the minimum of 250. If you don't get 250, you get a penalty. 176 to 240, you automatically get a -1 band on task response. So we're not off to a good start. Not as such. Okay, so back to the essay. Let's have a look. Where are we? So this is an essay from Cambridge 13. It's the new one. Living in a country where you have to speak a foreign language can cause serious problems. I think it says, he's not copied it out right, I think the question is serious social problems, yeah, as well as practical. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Okay, so what we need to do, first things first, does the author address all parts of the prompt? Is the question fully explored? Is it clear, and does it directly answer the question? Are the ideas good, extended with reasons and examples? So, all parts of the prompt. Well, no, because it's only 223 words. So you automatically minus a band for task response before we do anything else. So, let's have a look. With rapid development of the economy, an increasing number of people choose to live overseas to enjoy different culture as well as custom. What's that got to do with the topic? Doesn't say anything about it. Okay. However, some individuals assume an unknown language, I suppose a foreign language, because if it was unknown, it means that nobody knows it, but it's foreign, which means that you don't know it. That's called such about some problems. Okay. Whereas I concur with the statement to some extent. So, okay, we do have an opinion, but it's I concur. Why not just say my opinion in my view? Widening the horizons of knowledge would lead to an upgrading of human life. Yes, but that's not what it's asking. It says, do you agree or not that living in a different country, if you can't speak the language, you're going to have some social problems and practical ones. That's what it's talking about. Okay, as far as my views are concerned, speaking a foreign language assists in becoming more adaptable and knowledgeable. To epitomize, are you sure? Learning various culture as well as speech would enhance embroidering culture is uplifted. One can excel. It's not asking that. It's not asking that. It's asking if you can't speak a language where you live, and this has happened to me because I've lived in several countries around the world, working as a teacher, do you have some social problems as well as practical ones? Well, yes, from my experience, that is perfectly true. Anyway, that's what the question is asking. So, speaking a foreign language assists in becoming more adaptable and knowledgeable. To epitomize learning various culture, education, culture. Well, that's basically irrelevant. It's not answering the question. Is it directly answering the question? So, all parts of the prompt, well, no, because it's 2, 2, 3 words. Is it addressing the question? No. So, we'll carry on, but it's not looking good so far. Okay. Further reinforcing on the male counterpart. What male counterpart? Is there a female counterpart or what, a male counterpart? Is nonsense. Discrimination is encountered when communicating in an overseas language is set mandatory. You mean is mandatory. To explain further, native speakers of international people have conflicts based on the accent of language, leading to prejudice. Well, accent is irrelevant. You can speak English with an Indian accent, but you can still communicate in English. So I'm not sure what this is talking about. Additionally, so is this supposed to be the social? Is this supposed to be addressing the social part of the prompt? Set mandatory. Well, it's not mandatory, is it? It's just if nobody speaks English or whatever language you speak in the country that you go to, it's not compulsory, but it's asking, is it going to cause some social problems or practical ones? So, native speakers of international people who have conflicts based on it. Okay, well, I'm not sure what that is talking about. Practically, while ordering any product in the store, foreign language is an utmost requirement. There's no would have troublesome or would be troublesome. So, we partially address one part of the prompt. That if you don't speak the language, you're going to have some kind of practical issue. So it's partially addressed. To retrieve. Retrieve what? Shouldn't that be in conclusion? I deem? I don't know if that should be I deem that sagacious approaches. I deem that sagacious approaches. If I knew what that meant, I might be able to mark it for you. Should we take human garden speaking non-language face rude awakening for holistic growth and resplendent walk of life? Well, examiner is going to think it's basically nonsense. So, partially or incompletely addressed. But don't forget, we've already got minus band because 2, 2, 3 words. So we're on -4 for task response. So it's only partially addressed, as in it only addresses the practical part, and it doesn't really say a lot about it. So, right, for task response, you're looking basically at 4. A minimal way, as in you only say one thing about the practical issues. A position is discernible, but you have to read very carefully to find it. The ideas are difficult to identify, they're not clear or relevant. So, to be generous, you would get 4 for task response, essentially. So, let's go back up. Okay, cohesion, coherence. Now, this refers to how well the essay hangs together. The coherence part, the logic within a paragraph. The cohesion part is the general way the essay hangs together. So, the message can be followed effortlessly? Nope. Logically sequenced or well managed? Not really. Is there a clear progression throughout the response? clear central topic which is developed? Not really. Let's check again. So we've got something like an introduction. As far as my views are concerned, learning various cultures. Okay, so we've got 4 paragraphs. So, okay, but is there a logic within the paragraph to epitomize learning various cultures in different languages? Well, no, you've got 2 different things there. Okay, discrimination to explain further. Additionally, so are cohesive devices used to good effect? No. Is there a clear overall progression? No. Underlying coherence? No. No. It's difficult. It's going to be between 5 and 4. As I'm in a generous mood, I'll make it 5. The examiner may take a different approach there. So there's some organization, as in we have an introduction, we've got a couple of paragraphs with some ideas, and we kind of have a conclusion at the end. But the logic is not entirely there. Sentences are not linked. It's okay. So we'll say 5 for the task. Cohesion. Okay, on to Lexis. What's the vocab like? Serious problems with practical problems you disagree with. Whether coming into overseas to enjoy different cultures. It's a practical. Okay, I can when the horizon was would lead to and going to be like, okay, that's not so bad. For nicely more adaptable and knowledgeable. 2, epitomize. Is this supposed to be an example? That's not so good. One can excel in numerous employments of various ethical backgrounds. I'm not even sure what that means. Further reinforcing on the male counterpart, that is meaningless. Discrimination is set mandatory. So we've got quite a bit of vocab here that, I mean, and you know, this is the best example. 2, retrieve. I deem that sagacious approaches should be taken and not face rude awakening for holistic growth. So, vocab, let's have a look. Full flexibility, well, there's quite a wide range, but is it accurate? No. Skillful use? No. Less common items, only occasional errors. Generally clear, restricted range, wider range, some spelling. Let's take a look. Here we go. Frequent lapses in the appropriacy of word choice. We've got lots of phrases and expressions there that do not make sense. They're not appropriate. Now, the simple vocab works. That's good. But when you're trying to drop sagacious approaches, it doesn't work. It does not work. It's completely inappropriate. And again, you can see, you know, higher degrees of inappropriacy. So when you're using words that do not collocate, that do not fit, that to the reader don't make sense, it's nonsense, then you're going to be looking at 6, possibly 5 for your vocab. So 5 again, it seems. Oops, make it here. There we go. Oh, A. Now on to the grammar. Is this going to be better? We'll see. We'll see. So start with 9. Full range of structure, punctuation, accurate. Okay, so as you see, it's about accuracy. Ooh, come here, but also range. Okay, so a wide range of structures. Again, those keywords: range, past, present, future, passive, etc. Complex structures, error-free sentences. Now, how this works is They count the number of sentences you produce without a mistake, not the mistakes that you make, but the number of sentences without a mistake. So for 7, 8, you have to produce a majority of sentences without error. For 7, a frequent production of sentences without an error. So the more that you make, okay, so let's take a look. So you count the number of sentences without a mistake. That's the first thing. So how many sentences? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Oh, only 10. Well, because it is under length. 10 sentences. So now I've put the changes on. Changes. Okay. The rapid development of the economy and increasing number of people choose to live overseas to enjoy a different culture. Let's have a different cultures or a different culture if it's an abstract as well as customs. Or if somebody would assume that unknown language could raise social and practical issues. Okay. I concur with statement to some extent that widening the horizons of knowledge would lead to an upgrading of human life. As far as my views are concerned, speaking a foreign language assists in becoming more adaptable and knowledgeable to epitomize on various culture, one of several, one of various cultures, as well as speech, would enhance in broadening education understanding of culture is uplifted. I don't know what that should be, but it shouldn't be that. Broadening the education. So is broadening, so we've got an adverb, is that, well, it's an adjective here, is it? Broadening the education appreciation. So is this supposed to be a separate clause? So learning various cultures as well as speech would enhance in broadening, right. So I think it makes sense now. It's not a list. So in broadening education and appreciation and understanding of culture is uplifted. I suppose that is supposed to be increased. Moreover, by learning different languages, one can excel in numerous employment. Well, in numerous employments, or in the numerous. So again, I'm not really sure if he's talking about should it be singular, the particular employment, or should it be numerous employments in general as an abstract. I'm not sure. Further reinforcing on. Well, we usually reinforce something of. Reinforcing of the male counterpart. Discrimination is encountered when communicating in an overseas language is set mandatory. Well, that doesn't work. Get rid of set is mandatory. Okay. To explain further, native speakers and the international people, well, what international people? Have conflicts based on the accent of language leading to prejudice with the non-natives. Additionally, practically, while ordering any product in a store, a foreign language is not most requirement, as buying the coffee in English restaurant maybe above would be troublesome. Okay, to retrieve. I deem that sagacious approaches should be taken regarding speaking an unknown language, so that people should not face. Now, again, it could either be a rude awakening, a particular one, or rude awakenings for holistic growth and resplendent walk of life. So, do we have any sentences without an error? 1. One out of 10. So, error-free sentences are frequent. No. Do they impede communication? Well, no, they don't impede communication, but there's quite a lot of them. Are frequent. The range of structures, complex sentences tend to be faulty, punctuation, grammatical errors, they are... okay, 6. Because it doesn't really affect the communication. There's quite a lot of errors, but it doesn't really affect the communication. More complex structures not marked, simple and complex sentence forms. Error-free sentences are frequent. Well, they're not. There's only 1 out of 10. So give it 6 then. Okay, so where are we? Give it 6. I'll turn the changes off. No, changes off. Resource. Okay, so 5 plus 5 plus 4 plus 6 is 20 divided by 4 equals 5. That's it. Because it's too short, you automatically get a band off for task response, cohesion, coherence. The grammar's not so bad, but still 5. That's what you would get. So let's take a look at how you could approach such an essay. Now, it's to what extent question, opinion, essay. Let's just check it again. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So, I've made this book available on my website, on Facebook, on the page, in the group on my site, so it's freely available. What you need to do for your paragraph introduction: restate the topic, don't include anything that's not in it, such as we had, like with the rapid development of the economy. Well, it doesn't include that, so simply restate the topic. I agree, I disagree, because of, and also because, and that's it. Your body paragraph, introduce your main idea. The social problems of being unable to speak a foreign language are you don't have any friends and you're a sad, lonely individual. That's because when you go to bars you can't pick up women because you can't speak their language, for example, etc. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the same in paragraph 2, your second main idea. Then conclusion, not to retrieve. In conclusion, it's summary. Restate the question, your main ideas. Now, some people you can give a suggestion, recommendation. If you've got time, that can be good. If your word count's a little bit low, to get over it, you can say something like, with this in mind, I would suggest that anyone wanting to live abroad learns the language so they can avoid the above mentioned issues, or something such as that, if you wish. Now, here's an example, 291 words. I'm not going to read it out. I'll leave it on the screen. You can read it. So, I'll just go through a couple of key points and sentences, and then you can read the rest as an example. So, life in a foreign country often requires speaking the language, which may cause several problems, both social and practical. Okay. In my view, this is correct. If your language skills are poor, it is correct that you can have serious social and practical issues. This essay will argue that main idea 1, social isolation, talk about here, and practical issues, inability to function, and I've got sentence 1, 2, 3, 4, talking about when I used to live in Turkey, the first year was difficult because my Turkish was terrible, but still, so that's the social aspect. We're social creatures, language is the key. If you can't speak the language, you're not going to be able to make any new friends and have a bad life. Okay. The next one is about social issues. Again, give you my personal example. When I had to go to a chemist, I had to take a phrase book, you know, can I have an aspirin, or etc., you know. So anyway, that's the structure. Here's a good sample essay. I'll leave this here. You can pause it on screen and you can see. Okay, I hope that helps.